So I'm going to introduce our first featured reader for today, Dr. Veronica Esagui. Now, I've known Veronica for quite some time now. I first met her when I participated in the Northwest Book Festival in Portland in 2014, and Veronica was the producer of the event, which gave an opportunity to many publishers and authors to sell their books in Pioneer Square at the center of downtown Portland during the summertime each year. It was a wonderful event. Veronica also interviewed me in 2014 on her cable television show, The Authors Forum, which aired in Portland and surrounding communities. And besides being a producer and TV host, Veronica is a chiropractor and an author. So I asked all my feature readers to provide me with a short bio, and this is what Veronica sent me. Dr. Veronica Esagui is a chiropractic physician and the internationally and critically acclaimed author of the Scoliosis Self-Help Resource Book, both in English and Japanese. Her 5-book series of memoirs are The Journey of Innocence, Braving a New World, Awakening the Woman Within, Angels Among Us, and The Gift. Her poetry was recently published by Bob Hill Publishing, LLC, in Moments Before Midnight. She is also the playwright of Age to Perfection, a comedy chosen by Fertile Ground to have its world premiere at the Lakewood Arts Center Theater, Lake Oswego. She is presently rewriting a historic fiction book she originally wrote in Portuguese 20 years ago. So with no further ado, please welcome Veronica Esagui.
Because I have a very low voice. And thank you, Stephen, for having us here. This is a lot of fun. Yes. I'm going to start by reading from Moments Before Midnight. And we have these books back there, in case you want to look at them. I'd like to start with The Ghost of the Future. She did not feel her existence among the living. No one saw her, not in the familiar streets, and much less when she entered the cemetery. She looked for them. They would remember her. They lived in her mind, in her deepest thoughts. They were alive when she last saw them. Then she saw the stones lying next to each other. Where was hers? She was the ghost of the future. There was no middle, and there was no beginning. Make America great again? Question mark. Trumpety trump, 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 there he goes along with the rest. Not to be confused with the best. Those who voted for trumpety trump, 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 wanted something new, nothing more and nothing less. Now we have more of nothing and less of something. Not to be confused with anything that matters, because he is the president and what he says doesn't have to be true or make any sense. So, Amalie told me, you better have more than 2 poems to come here. So I started writing poems. So here we go. It's called South America. Mis hermanos, show me the color of your land, the red rooftops. They have lost its luster. Did you stain them with your tears? I want to hear the fields singing in the distance, and all about Mother Earth's bountiful gifts. Tell me, did it take you long to plow? No, I cannot walk in your shoes. I'm just passing through. Yes, your visions speak my language, but they are not my reality. Did I forget to say I'm sorry? Ocean waves. The moon shines as it bows to the sun. The wind punches mercilessly at the water below, until it finally awakes the sleepy giant below, who growls as it twists itself with its arms spreading lazily, at first in the seductive form of gentle waves, and then reaches higher and higher until it calls the ocean his own playground, and like a pirate takes all treasures above into its most hidden innards to the bottom of the sea. Negative images. With the echo of time gone, there is no resonance of what used to be. Not even the shadow of ghosts lurk by. Only the faint memories of images and stabbing emotions. The human touch has turned into dust. The past, a pattern of ifs. If you could have done this, if you could have done that, but now I see, the end would still be the same. Alaska. The naked mountains wait for their coat to return, so the white satin peaks can shine once again towards the sky. The eagles broaden their wings and their voices are heard, while the erect wildflowers bloom below. Winter will have to wait as the earth takes in the warm rays, breathing in the last days of summer. Firewood. I told her, before closing your eyes, look for the truth, explore your choices. She smiled, too young to understand the forest's treasures. No more trees, no more rain, no more food, no more shade for her and me. Another one of those, the end of deals, okay. Give me more money, give me more power, give me all you have, give me your countries, I want it all. Who cares about the people? Give me the wall, give me the oil, give me the world. Not my children, cries their mother. How dare you get in my way, he replies. Fake news, fake families, fake children. It's time to go, Mr. President. Wait, let's make a deal, a really good deal. It's time to go, Mr. President. Did you say I can't take her with me? It's time to go, Mr. President. You mean it was all for nothing? Sunshine. These are tiny little ones. Bright and yellow, glows like gold, warms your heart when you're cold. And when it goes away, you know it will be back, just like your best friend. Baby, the soul of an angel without wings. Home, where the heart is and your loved ones live. Garden, flowers bloom and then die. Memories, the storyteller of your minds, to guide us into the future if we listen. The meaning of life. We all want to know that one. One fingerprint per person. What do you do with your one and only amazing life will be the meaning of life for you and the world. Okay. I brought this book, it's called Passions. Everybody likes a little passion in their life, right? It's written by Susan Patterson, and they're $10 each if you decide. I only got 3 left. But I can open at any page, and when I need passion, I just read it. They were smoking cigarettes and drinking Glenfiddich straight up, out in the open on the veranda. Even though it was dangerous, they didn't care. Danger was their choice. Both belonged to others, but they met openly, broadcasting their love, unconsciously waiting to be found out, almost daring to be found out. Even so, if they were discovered, their lives would change dramatically, if not end entirely. Safety was their sacrifice. It was worth it. Their passion, though not sweet, was addictive. To them, ordinary love was the very definition of travesty. Isn't that passionate? I'll open another page because they're all like that. a practice of care. You walked past me through the door without saying a word. I knew something was wrong, but waited. Then wisely I went to find you. There you were on the bed. I lay next to you, drawing myself near, your back against my chest, your head on my arm. Muscles that held you upright had given out, bone weary. Your body seemed without spirit. I heard your short breathing. I felt your heart quicken, then slow down, then quicken again. And so now I must go.
I just want to let you know that you can read your prose. You don't have to just read poetry.
Okay, all right. So, it's time now for Amalie.
It is?
No,
No?
No, you have time still.
Oh, okay.
Have some
Read
prose.
on, yeah, read more.
we're just saying if you want to do your own prose.
Oh,
you can
okay,
read prose.
okay.
It doesn't have to be poetry.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be poetry.
Oh, really?
I invited you because of your work, not because of poetry.
Oh,
So whatever.
wow, that
whatever-
gives me so many venues here.
Yeah, whatever you like. You've
This
got-
is kind of a, okay, can you bring me the scoliosis book?
Sure.
Thank you. I might as well save some more people here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Which, by the way, I only brought one book because the way I look at it, you can always get it on any bookstore. You can order it, or on Amazon, or you can just write to me and I'll get it to you somehow. Okay, so this book was written because I had a patient that came into my office. She was 14 years old, and her doctor told the mother that she was going to need surgery, but the kid had never seen her x-rays. And when I put the x-rays up, I almost passed out. Okay, so instead of being straight, they were like inclined like that. And I was standing on one side, the girl was standing here, and the mother was on the other side. And when I flicked in the lights on the view, the girl fainted. And we grabbed her just in time, okay? So she is in this book, and they mentioned before that it's also in Japanese, which kind of took me by surprise because I thought maybe it'd go into Spanish. But a Japanese publishing company got hold of me and they published it in Japanese. So it has the same pictures and everything, but it is in Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese or write Japanese. They did all the work themselves. So I was born in Lisbon, Portugal, and I found my career literally by accident. After I lifted something a little too heavy, I couldn't walk, wound up in a hospital, you know, the usual thing. They told me I had to have back surgery and so on. And I called my son, my older son, and asked me to get me out of the hospital immediately. He now works with me. He's the other chiropractor. And so I went home, and then a friend of mine said, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I'm at home, on a bed, and I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life." I couldn't feel my feet or anything like that. So it turned out that he says, "Why don't you go see my chiropractor?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you know, break my neck or something horrible." I had heard all kinds of stories. And so I went to this old chiropractor, and it was like that. It was like a miracle. He adjusted me, and the next morning I got up and I turned to my husband and I said, "I want to be a chiropractor." All I have to do is punch people on the side here and fix their back. Like, how much longer can it take to learn to do that? So 6 years later, I graduated, and I have been in practice with my son for 20 years now.
Wow.
We're actually having a big party at the end of the month where we will be celebrating 20 years in practice.
Where at?
West Lynn, you'd have to go too far. But you can get the books and you can take it to your own chiropractor and you can follow it, okay? So I should ask, since I can do anything, right? Is anybody here that has a question about that subject?
I will tell you that Veronica diagnosed my RA before anybody else just by looking at me. And took me in and took some films, and she spotted it when I was walking. She's amazing.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, well, just a testimony.
Testimony. If anybody wants to talk to me privately about that, I can do a quick inspection right at the back. I can tell you what's going on just by looking at it. Many people think that by having curvature of the spine is no big deal. It is. Principally if the curve is going... Your heart, right? You don't want it to go down. And there's a lot of exercise in this book that would be specifically, I have it for different cases, you know, you can follow that. How is time?
You have some prose you want to read?
This would be kind of boring.
What are other books you have?
Okay, let me have book number 1, The Journey of Innocence.
Do the sexy one.
The Journey of Innocence. Yeah. The reason it's called The Journey of Innocence, because when I wrote it, I was innocent.
So you got at least 5 minutes, maybe a little longer.
Okay, I like making people laugh, even though some of the poetry I read to you is kind of like deep, maybe. There's one here that I think it's kind of funny. See if I can find it, because I wasn't prepared for that. So, I came to the United States 1962 when my mother set up a pre-marriage for me to come as a pre-arranged marriage. That's how come I'm here today. And so my mother kept me kind of hidden about everything, all the facts of life, because I was to be married to an American and she wanted me to be just as innocent as possible so that I could be a good wife and mother. Okay. Gosh, I wish I could find the one that was one here that was kind of funny, I think. I'll just read it from here. A friend of mine was concerned about my not knowing nothing about life, so she gave me a book called The Bride's Book. And in the Bride's Book, it tells you how to be happily married. So I carried that book under my arm, and I was reading in Portuguese, of course, because that's what I was born. And so I wrote in here, I was looking through the Bride's Book to find out about the first night of marriage and what that was all about. But it doesn't say anything except 2.5 pages of philosophical words like, don't take in your baggage only dreams of happiness. And most important, you must not use purple or dark colors in your bedroom. They will take away the brightness of love. The Bride's Book my friend gave me became my Bible. Important things to remember from it. When my husband gets home, I must have his dinner ready. I should be attractively dressed, smile, and keep quiet until he feels like talking. I must stay graceful and not bring up anything that might get him upset concerning silly, daily housewife problems. He has enough pressure and stress with his own job. I must keep his clothes clean and his shoes are to be shined every day. I must remind him to shave daily and to have his hair cut when he needs it. And no matter how hard the day I had cleaning and cooking and taking care of the kids, when he gets home, I must be in my best dress, perfumed and ready for love. I will be taking this book with me to North America so I can refresh my memory by reading it again and again. You got to realize I had never met my husband before, okay? This was a pre-arranged marriage. If I follow the directions in this book, I will have a better chance of being happily married to Alberto, the father of my future children.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you can read it.
All right. So this book is basically written before I came to the United States, okay? And the other ones are in the United States. So this is like totally I wrote it like a kid would think, because that's what I was, okay? So here it goes. If I'm going to enter the second year of high school, I will have to pass my entrance exam on all the subjects I have taken this year. This is the only way to graduate from one year to the next. It's a very demanding experience. The oral and written exams are given to another school, so there's no funny business with our own teachers giving us a good grade and passing us. I have been doing slightly below average, and for me that's maximum, because I'm not as smart as my brothers. I don't even come to my older brother's photographic memory or my younger brother genius with arithmetic, physics, and geometry. I am barely passing everything by the seat of my pants, and that's because the teachers are very good and the classes are small and intimate. If it weren't for every single one of them being such good teachers, I would know absolutely nothing, just like when I was in primary school. The 4 years that I attended were a waste of my time. I never had any idea what was really being taught, and I never got a good foundation. Wearing glasses now helps me to see what's written on the blackboard, but I consider myself to be a terrible student, and taking tests is pure torture. It's pathetic that during the oral exam your family can come into the school and watch you make a fool of yourself. That's how they do it there. The whole family comes, and your friends and your neighbors, to watch you. Okay. I made Mama and my Aunt Heidi promise they would sit quietly in the last row of the examining room. For dinner, before my next test, Mama made calf brains stewed in wine just for me. You know why, right? It's supposed to make you smart. The wine always did it too. When we left the house this morning, Mama gave me a spoonful of her usual magic potion she calls brain power medicine. She's a great believer in the power of suggestion, that's for sure, but I know better than that. I'm going to fail the test miserably, no matter what I eat or drink. Some things are just too hard for me to do, and taking tests is one of them. So now is a description of my exam here. 3 professors sat at a long desk, and one of them called my full name, pronouncing it with difficulty. I had been watching each student get up and be questioned. They would go up to the blackboard, pick up a piece of chalk, and wait until one of the examiners gave them an algebra problem. They would write down the solution of the problem. Then they would answer a few more questions and wait until one of the professors said, "Thank you, you may return to your seat." So I got up, but I didn't go to the blackboard. Whatever they were going to ask me, I already knew I would not have the answer. So I stood close to their desk and smiled at them, saying to myself, "What the heck am I going to do now? Please, dear God, help me." One of them said, "Go to the board and write down the solution to the problem I am going to give you." I smiled again and didn't move an inch. I couldn't because I was paralyzed from fear. She said, "Are you hard of hearing?" The one sitting in the middle said, "Didn't you see her name? She's a foreigner. Don't ask her to write, ask her to tell you the answer." So she did. Slowly and louder, as if that was going to make me understand her any better, with my fingers crossed behind my back, I looked at them, and with the most innocent look on my face, I jabbered out, very sure of myself, the sounds of an instantly made-up language. Oinkra pinksi a la la, longsa punya tum. The examiners asked each other, "What did she say?" All three of them were intrigued. All 3 of them were actually puzzled. The examiner at the end of the table repeated the algebra question once again, looking straight at me. I raised my hands up as if I was describing it along with my words in a manner that I hoped to come across as starting to get impatient with their ignorance of my own language. And I spoke a lot faster this time. It sounds German, one of them said. Are you German? I was quick in answering, "German? Ja." My father was German. That was the only thing I knew was "ja." I I remember how my father had tried to teach my brothers and me a few simple German words one evening with no success. First reader, he announced in German, "Ja," and then in Portuguese he added, "My children, you sure are all retarded." Then he lifted his arms in the air and left the room as he gave up on us. "She looks very confident of herself and seems to know what she's saying," said one of the professors, smiling at me as if he understood my dilemma. I stood there looking straight at them and telling myself, "Keep smiling and don't faint." They talked among themselves and were convinced of my knowledge, but in another language. "Thank you, Miss Wartenberg." Yes, that was my last name. I was saved by my last name in German. "Thank you, Miss Wartenberg. You can sit down now," they said almost in unison as they smiled at me. I couldn't move. My feet were glued to the ground. I was standing on. I questioned what they said with my eyes. The one closest to me repeated, "Sit down." She pointed to her own chair as she got up and sat on it again. I went back to my seat. I got 18 out of 20 on my testing exams. Thank you.
Impromptu, yes.
See, impromptu can be very good. So Dr. Veronica Esagui, let's give her another hand. I'm so glad you read some of your prose. It's such interesting stuff. So.